most cities, the first part of the plan is actually transportation.
I don't want to talk about it.
But with us, we seem to do the opposite.
We do the exact opposite. You look at
Florida ranks #1 for headquarters relocating here versus moving out. There was a study by Hire a Helper that went over the Securities and Exchange data and asked how many companies were moving to and out of a state. Florida ranked #1, Texas was #2, and Arizona was #3. When you looked at the states that people were leaving in terms of corporations, it was New York and California, which had a net negative of 40 and 50% respectively. If you looked at the top 4 reasons why companies stated they were leaving different states, had to do with environmental regulations, lack of labor, land costs, and electricity costs, which were putting some companies on the brink of bankruptcy. I think this is great for Florida. Obviously, the more jobs, the better. But let me know, what do you think down below?
So this video from my buddy Ken Tozik.
Ken, I have better sunglasses than Blue Dust. I mean, his are nice, but I mean, you know what I'm saying? Sunglasses. Yeah, it's not bad. I'm just saying, he has a great haircut. But, you know.
He does. He's a sharp dude. So Ken put this Hire a Helper study on my radar, and I was digging around it the other day, and the angle that he took with that particular video I thought was really interesting. I mean, just really making people aware that Florida ranks really high. Like, we're #1 for number of companies coming here versus number of companies leaving Florida, which is awesome. Also not super shocking to me. I think Texas came in right after Florida, and then Arizona. But the direction that I went with it and started going down some rabbit trails, there's actually a graph that they show in the article that shows the specific cities that companies are moving to. And when you look at the top 10 cities,
we got to do like your buddy does. You got to click. You see it?
Right? Yeah. Of the top 10 cities, so there's 2 cities in Massachusetts.
Nice.
I think right outside Boston that are top of the list. Then Spring, Texas. Then you've got Jacksonville, Florida at #4. A little ways down, you've got Tampa, Florida, then Miami. So Jacksonville, Tampa, Miami, all in the top 10 of cities that companies are moving to.
Right.
Where's freaking Orlando?
This is net gains. This isn't like all the companies moving in. It's like, okay, companies moving in versus companies moving out.
Yep.
Right. Jacksonville's got some really cheap land up there, you know. But here's my thing. In terms of Orlando getting on this top 10 list, first off, the Orlando Magic, they got to win a championship. just put it out there, okay? People got to start caring more about soccer, so that way, you know, the Orlando City soccer thing can really start bumping up. But we got to win a championship, guys. Number 2, for me, I lived here my entire life, and it is so doggone difficult to get anywhere. Like, we had this saying in high school, like, you need a car to get a job, but you need a job to get a car. And how are you going to be a corporate headquarter here, and you know, people can't get to your work, or they're used to getting to work without a vehicle? So that's not an expense they're used to. Or driving, which, have you driven in Orlando, bro? This has made me the best defensive driver in the world, because you have people from Miami, the islands, all the tourists. I know the tourists because you look at the minivan, and then you see if they stopped in the middle of the road with both blinkers on, not knowing where to go. Like, it's once a week you see somebody with a left blinker turning right. It's incredible. But that's, to me, those are the main 2 things. Orlando Magic, win a championship, and let's get the Sunrail going horizontally instead of vertically. You know, like, let's get it all connected.
Yeah, that was one of my points too. Better transportation infrastructure. So getting from the suburbs to downtown.
Right.
You actually had a thought when we were talking about this last week. Most cities plan, the first part of the plan is actually transportation.
I don't want to talk about it.
But with us, we seem to do the opposite.
We do the exact opposite. You look at, not all the time, like places like actually Horizon West did a pretty good job. Like, they have a lot of 4-lane roads, getting to and from 429. Like, Nona's pretty good, but everywhere in between, it was a farm. They put some houses on it, and then they're like, oh snap, people are moving to those houses, and they're being bottlenecked. And this is happening throughout Central Florida. They get the income from the sales of the houses in order to build the roads, instead of, I think, in my opinion, saying, okay, let's get the transportation situation figured out. And bro, what's homeboy's name? The Orange County Mayor Demings. He came and he was talking and doing like a town hall.
Buddy Dyer.
No. He's Orlando's mayor. Mayor. So Demings came because they were talking about raising the sales tax from 6.5 to 7% to match everybody else's. They at the same time gave Universal like hundreds of millions of dollars in tax credits because they were building the Epic and they were going to redo the re-infrastructure for Kirkman Road and International, which is great. It's awesome. And then I asked in that town hall, it's like, so can we get a Sunrail that goes from Claremont to University Boulevard so we can get from UCF to, or what does that look like? He's like, well, it'll cost, I think he said $200 million per stop to get from one place to another. So like the Winter Park Sunrail to Downtown Rail was $200 million in infrastructure build, based on his like off the cuff numbers. I said, I will happily pay an extra 0.5% in sales tax if I can go from Winter Garden to downtown with public transportation and have it be less than 2 hours. 2 hours, bro.
Yeah.
2 hours.
It's insane.
It's
insane. So here's my other thought. So better transportation infrastructure.
Yep.
Not just suburbs to downtown, but also getting to the beaches. So one thing, you look at all three of those cities on the list, Jacksonville, Tampa, Miami, they're all coastal cities. Hard to compete with being on the coast. But what if we had Sunrail that could get us to the coast easily? So we've already got one going to Miami now.
Yep.
I think they just announced we've got one going to Tampa too.
Just opened.
So we're going in the right direction.
Yep.
But here's my other take. We have these incredible theme parks all over our city.
Yep.
Could the city somehow broker deals for local corporations with our theme parks? So think annual passes for your employees as an employee perk, and then corporate packages for like VIP type experiences that your sales team could use for prospective clients. Like I just think really leaning on what we have could be people. It's one of the biggest tourist destinations in the world.
Yeah.
I think there's something to leverage there. We could lean into it when we're trying to attract companies.
I'd be down. That's what Evan Health does, right? They've partnered with Disney, and so they have some incentives for some of their workers, but their corporate headquarters is here.
Yeah.
So it works. We have Universal, we have SeaWorld, we have Legoland like an hour away. There's so many, and they all would be okay with annual pass members having a discount. Florida residents get a discount, and if those companies come in, I mean, that's a great incentive. I'm a real estate agent. I'd love to say, hey, come down with your corporate headquarters. Let me find you a place to live near the attractions that you get a discount for just by coming here. That would be incredible. The suburbs may or may not want to have the connection with the cities just because of who gets access, and they get a little segregated with that. They're like, I moved in the suburbs to get away from the city, adding that transportation, bringing in all of these different companies would increase the amount of people. My suburb would turn into a city. And Orlando has been really challenged with the dichotomy of becoming a really strong metropolitan area because of those ideas. A lot of people come here to retire. People come to Tampa, they know it's like, okay, there's a lot going on here. Miami, they already know there's a lot going on there. Jacksonville, they just go there because there's a lot of cheap land. They don't really want anything, but it's just dirt cheap, which is changing.
And it's on the coast.
It's changing too. And they have a football team. We don't have a football team. I mean, it sucks, but just calling it like it is. I love you, Jacksonville Jaguars. One of my high school teammates played for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They have a football team. We don't have one, right? We have a football team.
The other one I think you'll have a hot take on. The other thing I think we could do to attract more companies here,
right?
Whether the people want it or not, I think it would be good for our economy to get, there's no reason why we couldn't show up in the top 10 of this list. But I think it's better partnerships between schools like UCF and Full Sail with companies to feed their talent pipeline. So the fact that I own a company that has been listed on the Inc. 5000 list of fastest growing private companies the last 3 years, and I've never once been contacted by UCF, by Full Sail, especially Full Sail. I mean, we're a media company. They're a school for media.
Right.
I've never been contacted by them for any sort of like hiring, to reach out about hiring their graduates. Now, I think there's a problem with higher education at the macro level that schools don't put the amount of attention that they need to in actually helping graduates find jobs.
Exactly that. Their job is the education part, and they get really sometimes they can get tunnel vision. That's where NGOs kind of they kick in. Working in the nonprofit sector for the majority of the time had been connecting what's already there together with for-profit and nonprofit entities, which is what you're talking about doing. And it's so helpful once that happens. But I mean, UCF's one of the largest universities.
Second largest school in the country.
Right? So that's a big ship to move. Full Sail, there's no excuse for Full Sail. They can do that. They have a lot of talent that's pushing out, and they could very easily connect with companies like yours to say, hey, internship into employment, what does it look like? I think there's so much opportunity. It's crazy, bro. You know how many colleges we have here that could feed into these? Stetson, Rollins, University of Central Florida, Full Sail, Tampa, Miami, everywhere in between. I know people that live in Tampa and work here, and vice versa. I know people that live here that go to work on Port Canaveral because it's an hour away, and they're like, oh, that's not too bad. Imagine if we had a shuttle that take you from downtown Orlando to Port Canaveral, where the world's first space launch happened. And it keeps happening. Oh, we were breaking records over there on the regular. And then all of a sudden, your company moves in, you get free Orlando Magic tickets and 50% off shuttle rides to go see Elon Musk pop some stuff in the sky. Like, that's really cool. And there's no snow. At least for now. We'll see what global warming has to say about that. But
and I get the argument that, if you bring more companies here, then my suburb turns into a city.
It is.
It's a valid argument. I disagree with it. I want to see. I want to see more corporate relocations here. I think we've got a ton to offer the business community.
I'd like to see more buildings pop up that aren't homes.
Yeah.
Like look at Horizon West. It's mostly homes. A lot of the jobs that are here can't support the lifestyle that people are buying into here. Almost all of them. What corporate headquarters is there here? And there's so much great opportunity for that. You have the infrastructure. You have the willingness. We have great tax credits just in general. If you come here, that's why it's Texas in the state. Just saying. But I will say it's constitutional carry now. So you come down here, you come strapped up. if you believe in that sort of thing,
which clearly you do by red baby shirt that you're wearing.
That's it.
I love it. All right, so let's get Orlando into the top 10 here. With more companies here. That's that wraps it up for this one. Thank you, Ken Posick. Make sure to go follow him in the Orlando Reel. He's on YouTube, he's on Instagram, he's on TikTok, he's all over the place, but he's constantly finding really good gems. And so thanks, Ken, for bringing us this one. We are